Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Butt Fumble Sports Daily Show. It's so fun and wonderful to be with you on this Wednesday. Hope you're having a good hump day and getting ready for the weekend that's only a few days away. Of course, we're in this awful stage of the year where there's no football to talk about this week. We've got Pro Bowl football. If any of you guys care about that, well, I guess we'll talk about it. The Mannings, once again, going head-to-head. But what we're really going to talk about is obviously Super Bowl. We'll talk some college basketball, some NBA, some NHL, everything that you guys need to cash in on today's action. Yes, I not only got a haircut, I am back in New York City. So for all of those who live in New York City, what's up? Hit me up. Let's go grab a drink. For everybody else, how's your Wednesday going? Hope it's been a spectacular week so far. Here to help you guys out with your sports bets, your DFS lineups, your fantasy basketball, your fantasy baseball, anything fantasy related, and of course, here to rant about what's going on in the sports world with every single one of you guys. Hope you guys love the content. If you do, if you like the channel, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, no matter the platform, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Like I just said, we are going to be covering all the action across the sports world tonight. We've got a couple college basketball picks to give out, a couple NBA game picks to give out, and of course, we also have player prop bets to give out, so a lot to get into. Jay Frosty, Taylor made it Super Bowl bound. A lot of us were talking conspiracy theory before that AFC Championship game. And for anyone who is tracking Taylor Swift's flight from Tokyo to Las Vegas, just like Jay Frosty, you called it correct. Hopefully you put a few dollars down on it to make sure there's some money behind that action that you are, that prediction that you made. Happy to see you, Jay Frosty. If any of you guys want to join the show as a guest, hit us up. More than happy to have you guys on the phone lines and letting us know what you thought of all of it. Jay Frosty, you want to hit us up? More than welcome to. I know you're thinking about me at halftime of Detroit. I certainly was, buddy. I certainly was. Hope you guys are doing well. Hit us up. If you guys have questions, comments, you want to rant about something going on in the sports world, let us know. I just did the NBA ranking video on TikTok. If you guys want to go check that out, you can see how I ranked random 10 players who have put up there. I love comments by people. Comments by people are hilarious. They're like, why would you put this person ahead of that person? Gosh. And I was like, because it's random. Anyways, you can check out those videos. If you have questions about today's action, hit us up. Let us know. Thank you guys. You guys are letting me know the haircut worked out. Yeah. I was feeling like Shaggy as a dog there for a while. Hadn't had a haircut since 2023. So I thought it was about time to get a few haircuts. And yeah, shout out to my barber, from Malaysia, yeah, who works on 56th Street Barbershop. What? Yeah, thanks for hooking me up with the haircut today, buddy. If you guys have questions, let us know. Dante Williams, okay, interesting stat. 78% of the country has Chiefs on the money line according to the books. Yeah, so what do we do? Yeah, here's the question. There's been a lot of people, myself included, who are like, I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. You know what that means? The sports books are now heavy 49er fans. So, if you like to ride the trends, Patrick Mahomes is the man for you. If you like being on the side of the sports books, you want to be a 49ers better this Super Bowl Sunday in 2 weeks, that is, because the 49ers, that's what Vegas is actually rooting for. Maybe not the fans in Vegas, but those who own the casinos, they're rooting for the 49ers. I mentioned this stat the other day to you guys. I don't know if you caught it. Dante, listen up. In the Super Bowl betting era, so whenever legal sports betting has been allowed around a Super Bowl, whether in Vegas or across the country, Vegas sportsbooks have only lost money on 2 Super Bowls. The 1995 Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Chargers, and the 2007 Super Bowl between the Giants and the Patriots. Other than that, the sports book has always won. And what I mean by that is, maybe you want to be taking the 49ers on Super Bowl Sunday. That would be in line with that trend. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you guys have questions about tonight's action, hit us up. Let us know what you guys want us to research. If you guys do need help with any of your research or want some validation on any of your picks, if you guys have hot topics you want to talk about, the Seahawks have a new coach, and he is the youngest coach in the NFL, 36 years old. Not making me look too good at 34, but 36 years old and the head of an NFL organization. How's he going to do? He was the DC over there he was the DC in Michigan, then went to a different Harbaugh, became the DC in Baltimore, and now McDonald is going to be the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. How do we feel about it? Like it? Love it? Hate it? Interesting. It sounds like the Seahawks would have been willing to wait out the Super Bowl 2-week wait if the Ravens had won the AFC Championship game. So it's clear Seahawks got the guy that they had identified weeks ago. What does that mean for Dan Quinn? Is Dan Quinn going to be the head coach of the Commanders now that Ben Johnson has turned down the job? I don't know if you guys heard that. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator of the Lions, he was actually scheduled to meet with the Washington Commanders. They were flying to Detroit to meet with them, and then he hit him up and he was like, actually, I'd like to cancel the meeting. I'm going to stay in Detroit. I'm going to stay their offensive coordinator. I'm not interested in the head coaching job. Shocked me. I thought that's where he was going to end up. But does that mean Dan Quinn now has a chance in Washington? If Dan Quinn doesn't go to Washington, you assume he's back as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. We would have thought prior to the playoffs that was a wonderful thing. But just kind of curious to know, what do you guys think of the head coaching hires? The Dan Quinn rotating chairs here? Is he better as a DC in Dallas? What do we think of Seattle making that hire? And also, why is Mike Vrabel the odd man out in this musical chairs process? I understand Bill Belichick. Some people may think he's over the hill. Some people think he's too old, wants too much control of an organization. Why is Mike Vrabel not getting squat? Why is Mike Vrabel the odd man out? Let us know why you think that's the case. Kevin Struess over 19.5 points, rebounds, assists. I freaking love it. Kevin Struess is a player I really like today. He's actually going to be my first pick I put up on the board. I took Max Struess over 9.5 points. I also put him in my daily fantasy lineup. If you go to our Instagram account, Butt Fumble Sports, that's the name of our company, and of course the name of our Instagram account, Butt Fumble Sports, you'll see I put up a DFS lineup for today's basketball action, and Max Struess is in that lineup. He's got a great matchup today. I do like the over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Good find, Kevin. LA Rams superfan, who do you think wins the Super Bowl? This is how I'm going to say it. Who do I think wins the Super Bowl? I think it's going to be the Chiefs. Who would I bet to win the Super Bowl? Right now, I bet on the 49ers. There is too much public love behind the Kansas City Chiefs. There are too many people telling me that a team that had a worse record and has less weapons is going to win the Super Bowl over the 49ers. Look, I understand there are a lot of trends that back Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. That's why I am picking the Chiefs. Who would I bet on? I bet on the 49ers. I know that's a head fake in one direction going the other, but user 8402, Clippers winning the first quarter. I tend not to bet first quarter plays, kind of wonky. I think they will. I certainly think they're going to win the game. In fact, let's put that one up on the big board right now. I am taking Clippers on the money line. Clippers money line. That is one of my favorite bets of the day. It didn't quite get best bet status, but I do like Clippers on the money line. Majomes, defense in NBA doesn't exist anymore. Sounds about right. Ali Banana, who is better, Stroud or Love? It's CJ Stroud. I think Jordan Love is still overrated. I know he had a fantastic run there, but I think Jordan Love is getting way too much hype. I think CJ Stroud is actually the better quarterback. I need to see Jordan Love continue to progress and not make those kind of boneheaded mistakes that ultimately cost him the game against the 49ers. I think CJ Stroud is the better quarterback. You don't agree with me? Hit me up on the line. Come at me, bro. Would love to hear your take. If you guys want to join the show as a guest, you can hit me up, talk on the air. You can come live on the air with your questions, your comments. We can rant about what's going on in the sports world. So hit us up if you want to join the show as a guest. Love talking to you all you butt fumblers. Majomes, De'Aaron Fox over 25.5 points. Not about it. Not about it. Tend to fade the point total there. Think he could get assists, but don't think he's going to get the points. Appreciate you guys being with us on this Wednesday. Butt Fumble Sports is live Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern and on the weekends at 12 p.m. Tim, what's poppin'? Life is good here at Butt Fumble Sports. We're just talking sports every day, ranting about the sports world, putting down some sports bets. I will admit, I already miss football like a motherfucker. I shouldn't curse like that, forgive me. But I miss football. I miss the NFL. It's just not the same. Like, we are literally on the last day of January, and I'm looking at February like, oh, it's going to be cold. It's going to be miserable. I'm going to have to really get into college basketball. And, I love college basketball. But I miss the NFL. Single tier, miss the NFL. I saw Tom Brady on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Sounds like that dude is totally ready for the 2024 season. So, Tom Brady is kicking Greg Olsen out of that number 1 spot at Fox. How do we feel about it? Personally, I think Greg Olsen is absolutely getting the shaft. But if it's the shaft of Tom Brady, it sounds about right. Tom Brady deserves that number 1 spot. I think he's going to do a really good job. Maybe not the first month or two. I think there are going to be plenty of haters on awfulannouncing.com or on Twitter who are going to give Tom Brady a hard time. But I actually think Tom Brady's going to do well. And one of the reasons I think Brady's going to do well in that role is I think people forget Tom Brady loves to shit talk. Tom Brady actually loves to shit talk. And I don't think it's a side we got to see from him too often because he's always in buttoned up corporate mode. But I do think when he gets in the booth, the shit talking won't come, but I'm going to say something that might be a little challenging that we don't expect from corporate buttoned up Tom Brady. So I think he's going to be better than people think. I think his perspective is going to be amazing. Clearly he knows the X's and O's, and he's been through almost every experience you could have. From winning a Super Bowl to getting injured in literally the first game of a season and having to sit out. Obviously having confrontations with other teams, referees, the commissioner, Tom Brady's going to bring a lot to that booth. I'm going to miss Greg Olsen. I hope Greg Olsen gets a good gig, whether it's with Fox or somebody else, but I certainly think it's going to be a good time for Tom Brady to step in there. Okay, I'm ready for America's pastime too. I'm totally ready for baseball. I know pitchers and catchers report in 2 weeks. It's an interesting offseason though. One, I got to start the baseball talk with this. Congratulations, Baltimore Oriole fans. Baltimore Orioles. It sounds like they're being sold. Kind of a tricky scenario, actually. I did some research on this. So the Baltimore Orioles are technically being sold, but there's a clause in the contract that actually the sale doesn't go through until the current principal owner, Peter Angelos, when he dies, the new ownership takes effect. Kind of an interesting scenario. It would be like Jerry Jones selling the Dallas Cowboys, but the new owner can't claim ownership until Jerry Jones is dead. Kind of an interesting contract there for all those legal nerds out in the world. I'm a legal nerd myself. I love looking at contracts and intellectual property and the transaction of an asset. Really interesting, a baseball team. Great profit by Peter Angelos. Congratulations on making a cool $1 billion on the sale of your organization. Especially when you didn't do jack shit. You really kept the Orioles from succeeding for a long time. But overall, I just think that's a great team to buy into. But it's kind of interesting. It sounds good, but the transition of ownership isn't happening like we all thought. Anyway, that's a baseball thought to kick us off. Can't wait for the baseball season. Mention it to some of you guys who are watching the show. We will be doing a fantasy baseball league. We'll do a bunch of them, actually. So if you guys want to get in on it, hit me up. We'll make sure that we get you in on the action. Easy Jackson's got Astros-Dodgers World Series rematch. No, I don't have it. I think the Astros don't have enough starting pitching. I think the Astros are weaker in the pitching staff in general, bullpen included. I think they got haters, so they might be a little bit better than I'm thinking right now. But that said, Dodgers in the World Series, I feel good about that. It's Dodgers or Braves. I mean, Casey, you know it. Braves are a juggernaut. But Jones, Robert Saleh rants. What am I ranting about Robert Saleh about? Yeah, I heard the culture of the Jets is terrible. What do I care? No wonder it sucked. If you lost if the Chiefs had lost Patrick Mahomes on the 4th play of the season, I bet we'd hear stories about Kansas City isn't what it used to be. So I'm not really thinking anything of those stories. I think Robert Saleh, know what he needs? He needs a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and he needs to draft an offensive line. That's what he should be focusing on. Where does Bill B end up? Danny, he's going to end up where we all thought he was going to end up just 1 year later. He's going to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm saying it now. Mike McCarthy isn't going to win the Super Bowl next year, and anything short of a Super Bowl probably gets him fired. Okay, maybe if he makes the NFC Championship game, it might save his job. I don't think that's going to happen. Cowboys failed to make it to the NFC Championship game yet again, and Bill Belichick is just going to be sitting there waiting for someone to hire him, and I think Jerry Jones, he's going to pay him. I think that's what's going to happen. Craig, O's fan here, so happy to see it. Craig, congratulations. It's not quite the transition of power immediately that you were hoping for. But that said, the Orioles have a stud team. They've got great young prospects. They've got arguably the best ballpark in baseball. I think Camden Yards is as beautiful. I don't like the change to left field. I thought that was a little stupid, but whatever. I love that ballpark. I love the Oriole fan base. It is about time that Baltimore Oriole fans had something to be excited about. They've got a great team. This is the time. Baltimore Oriole fans, you have just entered the prime time for you guys to go chase a championship. Feel really good about it for O's fans. Danny, Dak, and Josh, can they ever win a big game? I think Josh Allen can win a big game. I think Josh Allen's biggest problem is he is running into Patrick Mahomes. He is running into Joe Burrow. He's running into a quarterback who, if you gave that other guy the ball for a game-winning drive, they'd actually go accomplish it. I think Josh Allen, I have less questions about him. Dak, I got questions about Dak. Dak is not clutch. Dak is a good regular season quarterback, but in the postseason, he has a tendency to force it. He has a tendency to do too much and ultimately delivers too little. I think Josh Allen and Dak aren't really in the same category for me. I think Josh Allen's the better quarterback, and I don't have as many questions about him in the postseason as I do Dak. Craig, so excited to see Holiday this year. Me too. Jackson Holiday is going to be a stud. First of all, if anyone ever saw Matt Holiday play, that dude ate babies. A massive human being, just nothing but muscle. Great hitter, whether it was in Colorado or in St. Louis. And his son is going to be even better. You heard it here first. Jackson Holiday is going to have a better MLB career than Matt Holiday, his father, did. I think Jackson Holiday is going to be a future all-star, superstar. He's got all the talent in the world. I know he looks like he's 16, but this dude hits like he's 26. He looks like he's already entering a prime. That's how good this kid is right now. And by the way, he's still in the minor leagues. He's the number one prospect in baseball. Orioles have so much talent on the MLB roster that they can still stick him down in the minors. Outstanding. Brett Naffs, Brogdon over 16 points. Love it, love it, love it. The Milwaukee Bucks are bad against point guards. Should lead to Brogdon getting good scoring opportunities. What do you think about Mikal Bridges on point total? Let's jump on over to Outlier, everybody, and let's take a look at some of these bets for people. Brett's asking about Bridges on his point total. So we're pulling up Outlier. Outlier is the sports betting research tool that we use every single day here at Butt Fumble Sports to do our research, give you guys the best bets, and obviously the best data behind those bets. It's not just about having picks. There's so many people out there on social media who have picks. Are they researching them? Are they putting in the time? Are they just pulling it out of their butt fumble? Mikal Bridges over on point total is a very popular play. The implied probability works in his favor. Against the small forward position, though, not a great look. The Suns are the second best defense in the NBA against that position, so I'm not as high on this one, actually. Personally, if I had to go over under 23.5, I'd go under. I'd probably go under 26.5 to play it safe. He has only gone over 26 points 3 times in his last 10 games. If I stretch that out, he has only gone over 26 points 4 times in the last 20 games. So if I had to go in any direction, and I will put this up on my big board, Mikal Bridges under 26.5 points. You heard it here. I'm taking the under on Bridges, buying it up to 26.5, and then taking the under on that. Texas Tejano, que pasa? What's happening, Texas Tejano? Good to see a familiar handle in the chat. Who would be your first 3 picks in next year's full PPR? I have the first overall pick, snake order. Okay. Everyone's going to say Christian McCaffrey. Every mock draft for next year's fantasy football league is going to say Christian McCaffrey. I'm not taking Christian McCaffrey next year. I think there is no way he could possibly duplicate his numbers from this year. He was healthy way too often this year, given his track record. He had way too much personal success. I think he plays probably 12, 13 games next year. He'll have some kind of injury that keeps him out a few weeks. I don't like Christian McCaffrey next year. So even though he will go number 1 in a lot of leagues, I don't think he should be number 1 in a lot of leagues. I'll say that. Okay, I think Justin Jefferson He's obviously in the running for it. I also would say Jamar Chase. Now that Joe Burrow's going to be back, full year healthy, they'll add a few pieces around him now that T. Higgins is probably going to be gone. I'll take Jamar Chase. He'll be in those top 3 as well. In terms of running backs, I've been saying it for a while now. I'm really on Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams and Breece Hall are the 2 running backs I look to in the first round next year. I know I'm not giving you exact picks, but the 4 guys I've mentioned so far that I really like, I put them in my top 4 next year. They're not the brand names that we had this year like Tyreek and Christian. They're the come-ups. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, those are obvious. But Kyren Williams, Breece Hall, those 4 guys would probably be in my top, 7 picks in the draft, with Bijan Robinson, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs sprinkled around them. I know Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey are also going to be there, but I like the names I just gave out a whole lot more, Texas Tejano. Agree. Anthony Richardson, MVP season incoming. I don't think we're going to get MVP only because I don't think the Colts have enough weapons around him. But look out. Anthony Richardson's going to have a monster year. I actually think the best thing that happened to Anthony Richardson in some ways is C.J. Stroud shot up the rankings. Everyone loves C.J. Stroud now. And it's like, hey, remember in the first quarter of the season when Anthony Richardson was the quarterback, everyone was gaga about the AFC South? I think when Richardson is healthy, he is going to have a monster year. I think they need to protect him a little bit better. But other than that, I think he is in for a massive 2024 season. Love that call. But Jones, if Dak doesn't perform, do they let Trey Lance do it? No. They're probably going to extend Dak Prescott. That's how bad of a hole the Cowboys are in right now. Cowboys are in purgatory. And I always think of team purgatory in the NFL as you're good enough to be in playoff contention. You're not good enough to win a Super Bowl. You're also not bad enough to get a good draft pick. I think the Cowboys, frankly, are screwed because they're kind of locked in to a lot of the players they have now. I don't think they can give up on CeeDee Lamb. They've got to sign him. You can't let Micah Parsons walk. You got to sign him. Obviously, now that Deron Bland just coming off a great year, you're probably going to have to pay that guy some money. Your secondary deserves a pay increase if you're going to keep some of those guys. And obviously, Dak Prescott, are you really going to let him walk? No, I think the Cowboys are just going to commit to players that we all don't really care for. FGI Doug, what is your Super Bowl prediction? I mentioned it at the start of the show. I hate the fact that Vegas is now rooting for San Francisco. There is so much public money coming down on the Chiefs. There are way too many people telling me they like the Chiefs to win. And the problem is, I like the Chiefs to win. Patrick Mahomes is an underdog. How can I not like that dude? How can I not pick that dude? So when the line opened at -2.5, -3, I took the Chiefs. I took the Chiefs at +3. I don't feel good about it, though. I think the 49ers are if you're going to bet the Super Bowl right now, bet the 49ers. Sounds counterintuitive. I'd rather be on the side of the sportsbook than on the side of the public. How do you feel about the Eagles' new hires? I thought Kellen Moore was actually a good hire. And the reason I like that as a hire is I think Dak Prescott a couple years ago and Jalen Hurts right now, there are comparable skills. There are things that Kellen Moore has already worked with that he will be able to work again with in Jalen Hurts. I also love the fact that he's coming back to the NFC East. I actually think that's a little spicy. He's going to face the Cowboys twice this year. And do I think Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore left on the best of terms? No, I don't. I think Mike McCarthy pushed him out. I think Mike McCarthy wanted to take over play calling duties, so he kind of gave Kellen Moore the boot. And my attitude is, if I'm Kellen Moore, I am going to play Dallas's defense 2 times next year. And I have the chance to show Mike McCarthy he knows jack shit 2 times next year. I think Kellen Moore could actually do a really good job. And what I actually like about it is the guy knows how to run an offense. The Eagles with the issues with the Chargers last year, they weren't Kellen Moore. The issue with the Cowboys a couple years ago, it wasn't Kellen Moore. I feel pretty good about him as an offensive play caller. Do I want him as my next head coach? Nope. Don't want Kellen Moore as my head coach, but as an OC, love it. I think he's a good fit in Philadelphia, and I think the revenge factor just sprinkles a little bit of something in there that we're all going to enjoy come next regular season. Marius, what's good? Jorge, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, you guys are liking the haircut. Barber clearly did a good job. Shout out Barbershop on 56th Street here in New York City. That's between 5th and 6th on 56th. If you guys need a barbershop, hit me up. That said, needed a haircut. I was a shaggy dog there for a while. I hadn't had a haircut since 2023. That was last year, everybody. That's how long ago that was. Anyways, FGI, how about Ben Johnson staying in Detroit? If I'm a Detroit Lions fan, there has been such darkness over the last few days that I needed this light. I'm not a Lions fan, but we are all Lions fans. If you're an American, you're a Lions fan at this point. And that loss to San Francisco was bad. C.J. Gardner-Johnson waving goodbye to the 49er fans at halftime, only to lose the game. I know Detroit just came from this massive high and just like Tower of Terror just plummeted to the ground. The only thing that could raise that fan base up in optimism is Ben Johnson coming back, and I love it for the Lions. You keep continuity. I don't think there is anything more important in the NFL that it's talked about less than continuity. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not spicy, but continuity matters. Being in the same system, working with the same coaches, having chemistry with the people that you go to work with, that you're spending 8 months out of the year with, regardless of how your season goes in terms of playoffs. The fact Ben Johnson is coming back is good for Jared Goff, is good for Dan Campbell. It is good for Detroit. I love it all the way around. Really happy about it. And I think it keeps Detroit the number one team in that division. Detroit is going to get better. They need to draft in the secondary. They need to add another dog on that defensive line to pair with Aiden Hutchinson. And other than that, that team is so close to being a Super Bowl champion. I love what they have, and keeping Ben Johnson there as an OC is a massive, massive win. Sean J., you also not think after that last game 49ers will crumble under the sort of Chiefs defense? No, I think the Chiefs defense is good. I also think it is now on the verge of being overrated. I think we have now crossed over that watershed, that threshold point where the Chiefs defense was good all year, but wasn't sexy, didn't have the brand names on the team, on the roster that like, oh yeah, Roquan Smith, oh yeah, this play. No, they didn't have that. So I think the Chiefs got kind of overlooked. Their defense got overlooked in the first few rounds of the playoffs. Now everyone's aware of how good this Chiefs defense is. And now I think the opposite occurs. I think people will overhype the Chiefs defense, and I don't think they're going to give enough respect to this 49ers offense. I think the 49ers offense, they're not going to have a massive scoring day. Steve Spagnuolo just doesn't allow those. We know from his time in previous Super Bowls, he knows how to keep good offenses down. But do I think the Chiefs defense is going to dominate the 49ers? No, I think this is going to be a much better game than people think. Craig, that mentalist psychic from the Hard Knocks said preseason 31-21 Chiefs. Craig, I already know people who have bet the score. I already know people who have seen that clip on social media and have bet the score. So some people are taking that as a real sign of what's to come. Mike says Mahomes isn't losing. He hasn't lost as an underdog when he's been in a dome. He's virtually undefeated. I'm not telling you. Look, I took the Chiefs. I'm talking out of two sides of my mouth right now, but that's okay. I want to give you guys my true insight. Who am I taking? I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. However, I feel there are way too many people saying that. There are too many people on TV. There are too many people on social media. If you go into the barber shop right now, which I clearly just did, even they're like, oh, Patrick Mahomes isn't losing the Super Bowl, right? You know who usually calls these things right? Vegas, the sports books. And right now, Vegas and the sports books is heavy on the side of the 49ers. That's why I'm saying, guys, I'm picking the Chiefs. If I were to bet right now, I'd bet on the 49ers. I know it's counterintuitive, but that's how I play it. Sean, see the OBJ pick went through? The OBJ pick went through. No, I hadn't seen that. Majomes, so Cowboys losing for however long they extend Dak. Got it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Cowboys are going to Cowboys until they can't Cowboys no more. Anthony, does Bulls win and Magic? First of all, Chicago Bulls. You killed me last night. I got everything else right except the Chicago Bulls, of course. Of course. Chicago Bulls, poop the bed. I do have Bulls on the money line tonight. I'll put that up on my big board. If I didn't learn my lesson last night, I guess I won't learn it tonight. Bulls on the money line is another pick that I'm going with. You also asked about the Magic. You got that right. Magic on the money line. I did take both of those. Just did my research earlier in the day. Both of those have good trends behind them. So Anthony, Bulls, Magic, I do have both of them on the money line. Jorge, here are the picks I've given out so far. Clippers money line, Bulls money line, Magic money line. I also gave out Max Strus over 9.5 points. And then someone asked about Mikal Bridges, and I took the under. We did our research live on the show, and I went under 26.5 points for him. Jorge, I think everyone just wants the 49ers to lose. Jorge Karras, I'm telling you, when everybody wants something, usually take the other side. I mentioned that quite a bit. I even put it in my disclaimer. When everybody is on one side of something, be that contrarian, go to the other side. Pretty soon I'll probably put a bet down on the 49ers because there's way too much love on the Chiefs. There's too much love on the Chiefs. Look, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, I get it. But Vegas builds casinos, and most of us are trying to make money in sports betting. I think I'll go with the guys who build casinos. Jordan Sugar allowed 3 points in the second half in all 3 playoff games. I know. They've been amazing. But I'm also not going to lose my head over it. I'm telling you, be careful. Julian, thoughts on Ravens' future? Is their Super Bowl window closing? No, their window is not closing. I don't want to overreact. They just signed Lamar last offseason to a massive extension. Lamar's not going anywhere. The young talent that they have on defense, like a Roquan Smith, that's not going anywhere. I think they need to... Zay Flowers, young, he's not going anywhere. I think they found something in Isaiah Likely. I think the Ravens have a lot of good pieces. Here's the problem. 2 problems. 1, I think they need another really good pass rusher. Someone who is a real havoc, chaos creator. Someone who is a Terrell Suggs. They don't have that lockdown. They don't have a killer pass rush. If they had a killer pass rush, I'd feel differently about them. They've got good pressure in the D-tackle position. They need a defensive end that can go get at the quarterback. That's something they need. They need help in the secondary. I love Kyle Hamilton. They need more help in the secondary. And it goes back to, they got to run the football effectively. Now, I put a lot of it on play calling in the AFC Championship game. But if we go through every team, I usually have like 3 or 4 points that I try to stick to, or for 3 or 4 things that they could think to improve upon. For me, it's they need an edge rusher. They need help in the secondary. They need to get a consistent running game, whether that's drafting a running back or keeping the running backs you have and beefing up that O-line. But I think the Ravens are still very close to a Super Bowl. I think they were one of the final 4 teams. I'm not going to be like, nope, the window's closed. I think there's too much talk these days of windows being closed when really they're not. But I think the Ravens are okay. They just need to make a few adjustments. And again, I don't want to overreact to something. I think that we live in an era where we go, oh, they haven't won a Super Bowl, and because Patrick Mahomes is there, they're never going to win. The window's closed. Injuries happen. Freak things happen. The Bills' window isn't closed. The Ravens' window isn't closed. Let's not overreact to that. These teams have bigger windows of time than people think. The problem is, our expectation is they're going to do it right now, when clearly Patrick Mahomes is at the height of his powers, and they didn't suffer any real injuries. Do I expect the Chiefs to go through another season next year without any injuries? I don't. Just the sheer law of probability works against it. Jorge, Dobbins and Mitchell coming back. Yeah, that's my question. Do the Ravens feel good about the running backs they have, and thus they address the offensive line? Or do they go, man, Dobbins can't stay on the field. Mitchell's pure speed, but can he stay healthy? Do they go to the draft to try to find someone else? By the way, Jorge, love Roquan, love Matabuke, but that's up the middle. I think the Ravens are really strong up the middle of their defense. If I look at the spine of their defense, Matabuke, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton in the secondary, that's as strong up the middle as it gets in the NFL. You know what the problem is? Edge rusher. You need an edge rusher, Baltimore. You need someone who can get you a sack. You need a Dwight Freeney. You need someone who it's like, in this moment, he's got that one move he can use. he can get the sack. That's what they need. It is critically important for the Ravens to get it. But Jones is taking Niners 31, Chiefs 27. Feels like it's going to be lower scoring than that. That feels like a very high scoring game. I'll take the under on your total. Jorge, my friend is a fan and want them to lose so bad. Bizarre. It's crazy because no one wants the Chiefs to become the Warriors-Cavs era. Hate the 49ers because I don't know why people hate the 49ers. Like, what did the 49ers ever do to you? They haven't won since the mid-90s. They run the organization the right way. They're not that obnoxious, honestly. I don't know why people hate on the 49ers. Like, I understand why people hate on certain franchises. I don't get the 49ers hate. Like, I like the 49ers. What a quality franchise. Jeffrey, what do you think of the Justin Tucker interaction? Really interesting, actually. So I saw Pat McAfee today, and I heard Travis Kelce talk about it. I heard Justin Tucker's comments on it. Look, Justin Tucker knew what he was doing. Justin Tucker is that kid in the classroom who knows that he just tried to pull a little sneaky shit move and is trying to, like, back away from it like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I wasn't doing anything that bad. I moved my helmet when Patrick Mahomes asked me to. Yeah, but you didn't move it that far. Like, Justin Tucker knew what he was doing. This, though, is a story that's all about to the victor go the spoils. Or as I like to say, history is written by those that win. If Justin Tucker had pulled that sneaky little shit stuff and the Ravens had won, we would be like, oh, Justin Tucker got in their head. Justin Tucker did such a good job of weaseling his way into the mind of Mahomes and Kelce. He had him off their game right from the start. But the Chiefs won. So you know what we end up saying? Man, Justin Tucker looks like a dick. What's a kicker doing? Literally putting his gear down in a position that could get Patrick Mahomes hurt. Can you imagine? I take this, I'll make another comparison. Victor Wembanyama, a couple weeks ago, rolled his ankle because there was someone under the basket, just like a member of the other team or security or whatever. Wembanyama went up for a layup in warm-ups, steps on this guy, rolls his ankle, he's out for the game. Can you imagine if that had happened with Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game? Can you imagine if Patrick Mahomes, while warming up for that game against the Ravens, had accidentally stepped on, like, the kicking stand of Justin Tucker, and now we're talking about a twisted ankle? Can you imagine how bad a look that would have been for Justin Tucker? So for me, this is one that's like, this is kind of cute, it's kind of funny, but overall, I think it's Justin Tucker was being a little shit, and he ended up losing, and now we're all like, you got what you deserved. You acted like a little punk, and you got punked by Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So that's my take on that situation. Jeffrey, if AD rolled his ankle like Victor, he'd be out for the season. First of all, if AD sneezed, he'd probably throw out something in his body. Like, AD can't stay healthy. But you get what I'm saying, Jeffrey. You know what I'm saying. Jorge, same thing with Jimmy in Game 7 versus the Celtics. He took a 3 and missed and would have made it if he's MJ. So I don't know what you're talking about. Anthony, Bucks win by 8 tonight. I tend to feel like that's right. Dame Lillard returning to Portland. I feel like that's right. I took Bucks on the money line. I'll put that one up here just so you guys can see it. Bucks money line. So, Dame Lillard back in Portland. Jeffrey, fake spin move, DeMarcus Ware, underrated. I saw that on social media. It's like one of the great moves of all time. It really is. To fake out an offensive tackle and to have him like, where'd you go? It reminds me of the clip of Barry Sanders against the Cowboys in the postseason years ago, where he has such a spectacular run that a defensive player literally like loses him behind him. That's what it was like with DeMarcus Ware with that fake spin. So, Jorge, Clowney is an edge rusher. I just don't think he's good enough. I think Clowney is the classic. He is good when you need him the least. Clowney is good when you do not need him in the critical moment. Do I really think Clowney comes through in clutch moments? I don't. So I think Clowney is good as a secondary piece. I don't think he is enough to be your number one pass rusher. I think you need something more. Jorge, Mitchell reminds me of Ah-Chan. Yeah, a lot. Good comparison. Anthony, do you know hockey? Of course we know puck. If you want to talk about the 3 games that are going on today, I researched them. I didn't bet them. I really don't like where we are right now in the NHL. We're right before the All-Star break, so it's kind of some weird timing with some of these games. Some teams aren't going to play for literally like a 2-week span of time like the Bruins. So I do follow hockey. I do know what I'm talking about in that area, but I'm also being cautious about my hockey bets for today. Jorge, Miami Dolphins window is closing with Tyreek wanting to retire at 31. I'm not doing what you guys do. You guys are clearly really quick to be like, window closed, they lost this year, window closed. I don't do that. I feel like windows open and close kind of as they, frankly, as the team builds. I think that each year a team has a window that's very open or less open. I don't think anybody's window is closed. I actually think if there is any team that is the perfect representation of you don't know how open or closed a team's window is until you see them, Houston Texans. Did anyone think the Houston Texans had an open window to the Super Bowl this year? Turns out they did. Turns out they weren't that far away from a Super Bowl. So I don't think anyone's window has closed. I think some teams failed to meet expectations this year, and maybe that has us disappointed or has us feeling differently about them next year. But I don't think the Dolphins' window is closed. I just think they need to upgrade at certain positions. Queen as well, they just getting old to you, and it showed. I think Patrick Queen's fine. I don't have a problem with Patrick Queen. Anthony, are the Ravens going to be bad next year without McDonald? No, I don't think they're going to be bad. I actually think they're going to be fine. I think that defense is... I think it is easier for the Ravens to find a defensive coordinator to keep this defense successful than it is for them to find someone new for the offense. I think it was really important that they build continuity on this offensive side of the ball. I think so many defensive coordinators would be licking their chops at the opportunity to have that Ravens defense under their control. I'd go Westbrook. Westbrook over Trey Jones. Thanks for the question, buddy. Deontay, yeah, hockey's in a weird spot. But that happens, by the way. It happens in the NFL around bye weeks. It happens in baseball around the All-Star break and the trade deadline. The NBA happens around the All-Star break. Usually there's a point in any season where, like, the trends don't line up as well. There's teams that have too much rest or too little rest. Things just get a little wonky. So the NHL is just in that weird part of the schedule now that we're getting close to the All-Star break. If any of you guys want to join the show as a guest, literally come on live, feel free, hit us up. Love talking to you guys live on the air. Ron Dog, what do you think about the Browns? Okay, the Browns are actually a team, if I had to make any prediction about the Browns, I think they're going to take a step back. And I say they're going to take a step back because Deshaun Watson, for all the talent he possesses, continues to prove to me that he cannot come through when I need him most. Whether it's off the field issues, whether it's health allowing him to stay on the field, whether, frankly, it's some bad play on the field. At times I need better play. I don't trust Deshaun Watson. Right now, that is a loaded division. It's only going to get harder because the Steelers are going to figure out their quarterback situation. They already have a lot of good pieces on that team. So you think the Bengals are going to get better. You think the Steelers are going to get better. You think the Ravens stay as good as they are. Which team in the AFC the AFC North probably takes a step back? I'm going to say it's the Browns. I know they have a really young roster. They have a lot of young talent. I still think it's about the quarterback, and I don't trust Deshaun Watson. I don't trust him. At this point, he should have accomplished more in his NFL career. If there is someone who, from trajectory to reality, has fallen off, Deshaun Watson. Whether, again, off-field, staying healthy, or on-field production, Deshaun Watson, I'm just expecting him to take a step back. JT would not surprise me in the least. Would not surprise me in the least. I think the Ravens are still a 1 or 2. I think the Bengals are the team that really vaults themselves back into the division title conversation. And I think the Steelers are going to make strides. The question for me is, do the Steelers get Justin Fields? Do the Steelers get Russell Wilson? Do the Steelers go make a splash in the draft? Do they draft a Michael Penix Jr.? Don't be surprised if they do, by the way. Michael Penix Jr., he's having a really good Senior Bowl. Don't be surprised if he shoots up the rankings for a lot of teams that are drafting in that middle of the first round. They don't have enough capital to go get one of those top 3 guys. Michael Penix Jr. in Pittsburgh would make a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And then I go, man, Michael Penix Jr. with George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. That's not that bad an offense. I could see them, you add another wide receiver, could be a good team. Foley, what do you think is going to happen with Embiid? He's getting an MRI today. I saw the play. I saw what happened. Frankly, I think Embiid is not going to be the MVP this year. Embiid is going to be forever the poster child of a player who didn't play enough games and thus doesn't qualify for the MVP. I think it's going to happen in the first year we have the rules. Everyone thought it was going to be like Kawhi Leonard or someone like that. Nope, Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid, just by how the season's playing out, will not play enough games to qualify for the MVP. And we'll almost call it the Joel Embiid rule because he's absolutely in contention for MVP if he could just stay on the floor. But I don't feel good about it. Julian, thoughts on the Packers? Can they be a dark horse Super Bowl contender with the young talent they have? Julian, I'm going to answer your question not as you expected it. The answer is no. They can't be a dark horse because they're an obvious horse. They're a light horse. They're a favorite. Everybody is going to be talking about the Packers this offseason. Everybody. We all know that they've got one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. We all know that Jordan Love is now solidifying himself as a true starter. They're not going to surprise anybody. They're not going to come out of nowhere. They have a radar on them. They have a target on them. Funny enough, I think right now, if you ask teams in the NFC, who are they circling on their schedule more for next year? The Lions or the Packers? Don't be surprised if they say the Packers. So I don't think the Packers are going to be a dark horse Super Bowl contender. I think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. I think we're going to talk about them. I think Packer fans are going to be calling in saying, yep, we got a team that can win a title. I think the Packers are on everybody's radar. Do I think they'll win a Super Bowl next year? No. Do I think they're going to be in an NFC Championship game? No. I think the Packers have more work to be done. I'm not as sold on Jordan Love as others are, but we could talk about that another time. But I certainly think the Packers, they have established themselves this year as a team everyone needs to be aware of moving forward. If you guys have a question, hit us up. Mike Torres, what's good? Love Kentucky tonight. Mike Torres, love Kentucky tonight. Now, I'm going to put this up on my big board. I took Kentucky on the, you know what? Kentucky on the money line. It really should be one of my favorite bets of the day. I'm going to put it up here, guys. This is one of my SHARPZ plays of the day. You guys know every single day we give out picks that we consider our favorites. We don't have any locks here because someone who says something is a lock doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. There are no locks in life. No locks. Death, taxes, and no locks. But that said, what are the picks that we have the most confidence in? The one that based on the trends, data, and analytics give us the highest level of confidence. Kentucky Wildcats on the money line, everybody. I put this stat up there on social media. When it comes to Florida versus Kentucky, since like 2017, Kentucky has owned this rivalry. Love Kentucky on the money line tonight. If you wanted to take them on the spread, I'd buy it down to maybe -4.5. But I really like Kentucky, so go Cats. Majomes, why are these new head coaches getting 5-6 year deals? I get Harbaugh's, but what is it really? I think it's a lot of good negotiating by the agents of these new head coaches, which is saying I need time to build my program. Especially with how we've seen so many head coaches fired within the first year or two. It's not that they'll reach the end of that 5-6 year contract that they're signing. It's saying to the owner, you have a financial incentive to give me time. You have a financial reason to give me time to build my roster, build my team, my organization, my head coach, my coaching staff to be successful. So I don't think it's as much about, oh, they think this guy's going to be around in 2030. No, I think they want the opportunity. The head coaches want the opportunity to have a little bit of insurance in case things don't go well in year 1 or year 2. That might give them a year 3 or a year 4, more time to prove that they're worth the hire. And on the other side, I think for owners, sure, I'll give you a 5-year deal, knowing I can just fire you after year 1. It means less to them. So I think it's good negotiating by the head coaching agent, and it's, frankly, for the owner, they got billions of dollars. What's a couple million? Mark Gonzalez, let them know. Tap that screen, everybody. Tap, tap, tap. Katie, what's good? Appreciate you joining the show, Katie. By the way, can everyone give Katie a shout out? Katie is getting married to a friend of mine. Don't know what she sees in him. That's like half a joke. But Katie is awesome. Happy to know that Katie is joining my friend family for life. Because once she marries this dude, she's going nowhere. But that said, Katie, welcome into the show. Great to have you watching. Hope you're having a great night. On my way to the top, Chiefs Kingdom. Man, I can't imagine what Vegas is going to be like with KC fans. I am so excited for that. So excited. Yeah, people, show Katie love. Katie's getting married. Katie, where's your honeymoon going to be? I know your boo just hit me up about a bachelor party that's supposed to be happening. I think it's in like Austin he wants to have it. So, guys, where do you think we should have this bachelor party? Put in some ideas. My buddy's looking to do a bachelor party. Where do you think we should go? Mike Torres, look at Indiana State tonight. Okay, let's take a quick look at Indiana State while people give me their favorite places to have a bachelor party. Keep in mind, I've been to Vegas and I've been to Miami. I can say nothing about those two experiences. But that said, let's go over to college basketball. We're going to look up Indiana State. I haven't done my research on this game because I wasn't going to bet on the Sycamores tonight. Shout out Larry Bird. But I do want to answer your question, and so I'm going to look at how the public is betting this. We're going to look at the Indiana State Sycamores. They're facing Belmont. Keep in mind, Belmont has been a tournament team in the past. Not tonight, though. Mike Torres, I really do like the Sycamores. The public money is down on it pretty consistently, both the tickets and the money. I like the Sycamores tonight. Definitely take them on the money line. Mike Torres coming up with some good bets. Love to see it. IP Shade Vegas, check, Cabo, and Cancun. No me gusta Mexico when it comes to bachelor parties. That's just me. No me gusta Mexico because I always feel like I could end up staying in Mexico permanently. So I love doing it in the U.S. If I could do a bachelor party in the U.S., I would, because I always feel like there's that one friend. By the way, it's probably the one Katie's going to marry. It's the one friend in which you're like, he could get arrested and he could be stuck here. Like, we might not be getting Alex back to the United States. Like, there's a decent chance he is officially a Mexicano. So, that said, I would be a little wary of that. Mark Gonzalez, Tampa, strip club capital of America. I know everyone says the best strip clubs are in Atlanta. They are. But Tampa, I heard, has more strip clubs per capita than any other city in America. This is why you come to Butt Fumble Sports, everybody. Alexander says Iran. Interesting. You know, you go there for the burqas. You stay there for the politics. Mark Gonzalez, like The Hangover. There you go. Atlantic City. I'm not an Atlantic City guy. Like, Atlantic City's not that far away from me, being in New York. To be honest, there is never a reason that I've been like, you know what we should do? We should go to Atlantic City. Nah, I think I'm okay. I think I'm good. Appreciate you guys joining us. Hope you're enjoying the show. Things going off the rails a little bit as we're just having some fun here. We're getting a question about Richmond. Richmond Spiders. Do we like them on the money line? They're playing the Fordham Rams. Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Mike Torres. You found another good one. We do like Richmond on the money line. You might even want to take them on the spread on this one. Money line to be safe, spread to risk it. Tampa might be a winner. Yeah, it might be. I've spent some time in Tampa. An amount of time that I cannot disclose because people would know too much. But I've spent some time in Tampa. But Jones, Portland, Oregon has the most. Is that true? Portland, Oregon has the most strip clubs? I've been to Portland. Why would I want stripper with armpit hair? Like, oh my god. And yes, I am totally throwing shade on Portland, Oregon right now. Not where I would want to go for my strip clubs. I might as well go to Portland, Maine. Like, what am I doing here? What are we doing? Anthony Edwards, what players or positions should the Ravens target in free agency? Talked about this a little while ago. They need to get a number one edge rusher. They need someone who can apply pressure no matter what. They need a really great edge rusher. Probably that's where I would go in the draft. Where I'd go in free agency, they need help in the secondary. Another good corner, another good safety. They've got one of each. They need another of each. So I think edge rusher, cornerback, safety, those are the three positions on defense that I would focus if I were them. And then it's continue to build the offensive line. You cannot have enough offensive linemen in the NFL. I think they continue to build that offensive line. You win in the trenches. You win overall. Offensive line, defensive edge rusher, it would go a long way. Mike Torres is now asking about North Texas. Man, Mike Torres, do you have enough followers to join the show as a guest? Because you and I need to do a college basketball show when we get to tournament time. Clearly, you're someone who likes to check out college basketball teams, which I freaking love. By the way, we are getting into heavy college basketball time of year, so hopefully you guys are into it as much as I am. I feel like it's a weird college basketball season. Not as many stars, not as many brand names as there used to be, so kind of a different vibe to it. North Texas, the mean green team of North Texas, faced the UAB Blazers. I would say this is one in which I do like the spread in favor of North Texas. I would take it, Mike Torres. Love it. Love it. Anthony Edwards. What do you think the Ravens should do with Ronnie Stanley? Sign him. I don't think you can afford to let him go. I don't think there are enough Ronnie Stanleys out there in the draft or in free agency that can replace him at the price at a better price tag. I'd sign him. I'd keep him. I think you got to. I think they could tag him too. So either way, I think he's staying a Baltimore Raven. If you guys have questions, comments, if you want to join the show as a guest, hit us up. Love talking sports with you guys every single day. That was like the fastest hour of Butt Fumble Sports we've ever had. Like, we've been on for an hour. I feel honestly like it was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We have covered everything. Strip clubs, haircuts, where you go for a bachelor party, all the things people come to a sports content show for. Anthony Edwards, what about Queen, Patrick Queen? I think you keep him. I think you keep him, and what I think you say to Patrick Queen is, we are going to sign you to a shorter deal, less money, so you can go win. I don't think you sign him to the long-term deal he may want. I don't think you'd franchise tag him, because I'm not huge on franchise tagging linebackers if you don't have to, especially if they're not like a number one linebacker on your defense. But I think Patrick Queen should stay in Baltimore for his sake and for the sake of the Ravens. Anthony, who do you got winning for hockey? I mentioned it earlier. I really don't like the hockey games tonight. So I did my research for them. I would take the over in the Red Wings game. I'd probably take the Red Wings on the money line as well. But frankly, like Predators, I'd take, if I had to, Red Wings, Predators, and Ducks. Those would be the three teams I'd bet. Did I really bet them? No, because I don't like the hockey schedule right now. Not feeling good about it. But based on the trends and data I looked at, the three picks I would have is Red Wings money line, Predators money line, Ducks money line. All three are, well, I guess the Kings are a favorite, but I actually do like the Predators on the money line in that one. So, Jordan, is it crazy to think the Bengals are the best team, or the best team in the NFL when healthy? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. The Bengals aren't good enough on defense. No, that's a crazy comment. I'll give it to you, Jordan. On offense, can absolutely have that conversation with you. Offense, when the Bengals are fully healthy on offense, they can go toe-to-toe with any offense in the NFL. That defense, no, that defense has problems. There's the loss of Jesse Bates this past season. They never overcame that. Their secondary was never the same by allowing Jesse Bates to walk and go to Atlanta. So I think the Bengals need to address that defense. If they do that and their offense is healthy, that's a top 3 team in the NFL. Not just in the conference, in the NFL. Mike Torres, I love UConn tonight. Took him on the money line because, I didn't want to risk it too much. So, UConn, money line. Absolutely took that one as well. Also want to give out this pick. College basketball pick I freaking loved. Saw this trend, put it out on Instagram. By the way, if you guys follow our Instagram, I'll put out a lot of trends in my story throughout the day. I think it's worth watching, but hey, it's my channel, so of course I think that way. Penn State, Rutgers. The history of the under in this game is phenomenal. So Penn State, Rutgers, I took it under at 150. You could take it under at 148. I think the under is the play to make. Penn State, Rutgers, under. Giovanni, how do you feel about the moves the Eagles made at coordinators? Really like it. Think they did the right thing. I thought Vic Fangio was always going to be the DC if they made the swap, and I think Kellen Moore is an upgrade. I actually think the Eagles have massively upgraded their coaching staff. I think they took a big leap forward. They still got to address some things on this team. I actually think sounds like they might be trading A.J. Brown, which is blow your mind crazy. I wouldn't trade A.J. Brown away. Sounds like that is a very real possibility. Keep in mind, very deep draft for wide receivers, so maybe they feel like they can score a couple of good draft picks and continue to keep a pretty good wide receiver room. That said, I love what the Eagles did from a coordinator standpoint, but they got to make some moves to upgrade that roster. Again, the secondary. I mentioned it with the Bengals. I mentioned it with the Ravens. I'll say it again for the Eagles. The secondary. We are in such a pass-heavy league. You need good secondary play. Those were 3 teams that didn't get enough good secondary play when it mattered. All 3 will be looking for players in the offseason. Sean, appreciate the kind comments. Hope you have a wonderful night, buddy. Diego, Giannis over rebounds and assists. Let's go take a look at it. We'll jump on over on Outlier and take a look. Mike Torres, take Rutgers in the under. Mike Torres and I are like simpatico. We are freaking on the same wavelength. We're going to check out Giannis Antetokounmpo. Check out his rebounds and assists. We're looking at that for Diego. What up, Diego? Diego was one of our loyal subscribers, is no longer. I know out of football season, some of you guys are like, screw the subscribers. I'll come back come football season. I get it. Let's take a look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. 18.5 rebounds and assists. The under is the better implied probability. Let me say that again. According to Outlier, the under is the better implied probability. I would take the over. Portland is 23rd in rebounds allowed to power forwards. They're 27th in assists allowed to power forwards. If I look at this on the road, Giannis has actually cashed 6 out of the last 7 games, 7 out of the last 9. He's hit the over on this. Diego, I would take over 18.5 points, 18.5 rebounds plus assists. I think that's a good play, Diego. You're getting it at even money. Given the money and given the matchup and given the trend, Diego, I would do it. Sean, do you think the 49ers will deal well with the Chiefs offense? Yes. I think the Chiefs, here is my one concern. Travis Kelce. Outside of Travis Kelce, do I think Pacheco could have a good game? Sure. We just saw Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery run pretty well against that 49ers defense. However, the Chiefs just don't have that many weapons. They have one wide receiver I'm worried about, Rashee Rice. They have one pass catcher other than that I'm worried about, Travis Kelce. And they only have one running back I'm worried about. They don't even have Jerick McKinnon anymore. So I don't even have that other running back I'd be concerned about because CEH is a shell of his former self. So do I think the 49ers can take away 3 options on the Chiefs offense? Yeah, I do. If they can just take away 2, I think the 49ers could pull off the win. Mike Torres loves Rutgers. I do too, buddy. I think it's a great bet for tonight. Rutgers and that under. Get at it, Mike Torres. If you guys want to join the show as a guest, hit us up. Love talking to you guys. Anyone can join the show. Doesn't matter. I think you have to have 1,000 followers. TikTok rule, not mine. But if you guys want to join the show, talk some sports with us, hit us up. That's why we're here. Butt Fumble Sports. We are live Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. On the weekends, we're live at 12 p.m. Eastern. How many picks do we have to give out? We've given out our college basketball picks. We still have some NBA and some player prop bets to give out, so don't worry. Those are coming just around the corner. If you guys do have questions about tonight's action, you want research done, we have our research tools up. We use Outlier. Outlier is like the Bloomberg terminal for sports betting. I can look up any stat, any trend, any head-to-head matchup. So if you guys have a bet that you'd like some research on, hit us up. More than happy to hit you up. Mike Torres is big on them Sycamores. Let's go. Let's go, Indiana State. Mike Torres, is Indiana State going to punch their ticket to the tournament? Does OBJ have anything left in the tank? Anthony Edwards, I think so. I actually think at times he played better in the regular season than some people expected. So I do like that. IP Shade 45 going Thunder money line with no Jokic playing. I'm actually glad Jokic isn't playing for this reason. I took earlier in the day, and I'll put it up on my board, Nuggets, Thunder, under. Nuggets, Thunder, under. I took it at 234. I also took it at under 232. So Nuggets, Thunder, I took the under in that game. Feel good about it without Jokic. If you guys have questions, if you want to rant about what's going on in the sports world, if you want me to talk about a topic in the sports world, hit us up. Put your question in the chat. Join the show as a guest. You can hit us up on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. We're here for it. JP, do the Kings versus Predators under 6.5 like it? JP, good find. Good find, JP. Good find. Under on that 6.5. I love it. Who do you think will get NBA MVP? I think Jokic is going to lose out on it. I think Embiid's going to lose out on it because he won't have played enough games. I think SGA is a hot candidate now, but I bet the Thunder probably fall a little bit in the standings over the back half of the year, so I wouldn't be surprised if SGA falls off a bit. I'm going to say Jokic is the favorite, and I'll put it out there right now. Watch out for Jason Tatum. Watch out for Jason Tatum. No one's talking about him right now, but the Celtics, if they finish the season with the #1 record, and he's the best player on that team, he's a dark horse. He's that one who's probably not he's a really good bet right now, because his odds are farther away. I think Jokic wins it. I think Tatum's a good dark horse, given the situation. Anthony, who should you pick for college basketball? Kentucky money line, UConn money line, Penn State, Rutgers on the under, and I'm also hearing Rutgers and Indiana State. If you're following those in the chat. Anthony, will the Timberwolves perform in the playoffs? For one round, they will. I think they'll make it to a second round. Are they good enough to make it to a third? I don't think so, and I think it's all about the fact that Cat and Rudy Gobert are soft. They are big men who should be physical, who should be aggressive, who should set the tone, and somehow it's Anthony Edwards who's the killer out of that group. So I don't think the Timberwolves can go far enough in this postseason to justify all the talent that they have. I think they probably get knocked out in the second round. IP Shade 45, is it time for the Lakers to blow it up since Bron won't win another championship with the current roster? IP Shade 45, that is a wonderful question. It is a smart question. It's almost too smart a question. There are always two conflicting factors for a team like the Lakers. Money and championship pursuit. So, you don't have championship pursuit. Do you really want to tank? Because then you lose out on the money. Now, if you want to make the money, you're okay losing out on the championship. But I don't think they are going to blow up this team because I don't think the Lakers want to lose out on the money. I think they have a window of time with LeBron James still wearing their uniform where they can squeeze every single dollar out of every NBA fan, viewer, or specifically Laker fans. The Lakers should blow it up. This organization is not going to make the run it did last year and be in a Western Conference Finals or challenge for a championship. It's not going to happen. So with that said, I'd blow it up. But I think the Lakers know they would be throwing away millions and millions of dollars, and I don't think they're going to do it for the back half of the year. So I think they'll probably keep what they have. If not, make a trade that they try to upgrade the team that still won't get them where they need to go. John, what's good? Hope you're having a great day, John. Great to see you in the chat. Chris, what's up, Chris? Hope you're having a great day. I'd probably go Ivy. Probably. It's close, though. Based off what we know now, asks Anthony Edwards fan, what do you think the ceiling of Anthony Edwards is compared to a player? Man. A ceiling. That's really tough. A ceiling? Anthony Edwards' ceiling for me is Kobe Bryant. I know that sounds crazy. That's how talented this kid is. Now the problem is, Kobe had a Shaq early in his career that could help get him those championships, where he could lean on somebody else. If Anthony Edwards had something like that, his career could skyrocket, take off, and then when he really hits his prime, because as crazy as it is, he's not even in it yet. He's still probably a couple years, he's still in his infancy. He's just getting better. Anthony Edwards could be a multiple-time champion. He could be a 3-time champion in this league. He could be a multiple-time MVP. The thing is, he needs the pieces around him. Because even an MVP by himself isn't good enough. Now, what do I think he's going to end up being? I think he's going to be closer to a Tracy McGrady or to a Vince Carter, which is an unbelievable career, which could be a Hall of Fame career. But is it Kobe? No. Is it Dwayne Wade? No. Anthony Edwards could be a multiple-time champion and multiple-time MVP. But it says much about the pieces around him. If Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert are the pussies that they've been over the last few years, I don't care if you score 60 points in a regular season game. If you don't step up in the postseason, if you don't set a physical tone as a big man in the NBA, I think it'll cost Anthony Edwards and cost the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mike Torres, parlay for tonight. Kentucky -3. Check. Indiana State -5. Check. UConn minus. Mike Torres. Bringing the big guns on this show. Mike Torres crushed it today. Great job. John, are you happy about the Super Bowl teams? Of course. Of course. Team content 1. Great topics, great players, great coaches, good storyline, a rematch of a Super Bowl from a couple years ago that was a really good one. I love it. I love the matchup. I'm also not a hater. You guys know this about me. Like, I don't hate on things unnecessarily just because, like, it's a popular thing. Usually when I hate on something, there's, like, a reason. You know, like Deshaun Watson. I hate on Deshaun Watson because he's a jackass. He's a bad guy. Okay? That's why I don't hate on him recklessly. So, like, for example, I don't hate on the Chiefs just because they're winning. Like, there's no reason for me to be like, man, those Kansas City Chiefs, they're playing too good. I have to hate them now. No, I love it. It's great football. It is the sport at its absolute best. Now, if the 49ers won, would I be happy? Yeah. If the Chiefs won, would I be happy? Yeah. I just want to see good football. I get one more football game before I walk into the Saharan desert of the off-season. I want a good football game. I want a good football game between two good teams that are well prepared, well coached, healthy, and just go knock the shit out of each other for 4 quarters. I want good football. I have to go from middle of February until August before I can really get hyped about the NFL again. I got one game left. Just give me good football. And so, Chiefs, 49ers, I think they'll deliver that. So, am I happy about the Super Bowl teams? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Elite Detail, Lakers are bad. You know it, dog. Lakers are bad. And worse, Ham's bad. Marvin Ham's bad. People were trying to sell me on him being a really good head coach. He's not. He's not. And you know what LeBron is really thinking? I think LeBron is looking over at the Los Angeles Clippers right now going, man, Ty Lue was a really good coach, man. Ty Lue was a good coach. I miss Ty Lue. I miss some good... LeBron has had some great head coaches in his career. So it's not like LeBron has been lacking. And you can tell LeBron is over Ham. He is going kosher. He wants nothing to do with his current head coach. LeBron's even doing his stupid, like, cryptic tweets at, like, 2 in the morning. An hourglass at 2 in the morning. What does that mean, dude? What the fuck are you trying to tell me? LeBron, take it down. Take it down a notch. Lethal Jake, Seahawks got their man with Mike McDonald, and I really love the hire. I thought it was the perfect hire. This is a young coach. He has a good track record of building, whether it's at Michigan, whether it's in Baltimore. He has a good scheme. I think it's a great hire. Frankly, it's interesting that they went from the oldest coach in the NFL in Pete Carroll to the youngest coach now, but it just says they knew what they wanted, and they found it. Great hire by Seattle. Anthony, that parlay from Mike Torres was solid. I actually really like it. Yusuf, what's good? What do I think about Jaden McDaniels? I have him in my DFS lineup tonight. I think I like him. My problem with him is he should be a good role player. At times, they rely on him for too much. Again, the problem with the Minnesota Timberwolves, there are 2 problems. It's Karl Anthony Towns and it's Rudy Gobert. If I told you that a team had 2 of the top 5 big men in the league, you would go, oh, that team should dominate. Obviously, the Timberwolves are having a good year right now, so I'm saying in the postseason, I'm saying historically, those 2 teams, that team should be so good with those 2 bigs. And my problem with the Timberwolves is I always feel like they get soft. How does Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, how do they play so soft? They play so soft to me. They're like Robert Williams. Like, how can you be so tall and so soft at the same time? Set a physical edge. Like, just be physical. Like, you have height. So anyway, I have the Timberwolves drive me crazy because they should be a better team. So, JP, do I follow the PGA Tour? Like I do. I follow almost everything in sports. Like I am a true sports junkie. I freaking take sports, I cook it up, I put it on a spoon, I put that in a syringe, and I inject it into my veins every single day. That said, the PGA Tour is kind of a snooze fest. The sexiest thing about the PGA Tour are the majors, obviously, and the rivalry with Live Golf, which is going away because they're merging now. So do I follow the PGA Tour? Like I do, but not enough to like get myself excited or to try to talk you into a bet. I certainly wouldn't do that. Yusuf, I work for the Timberwolves in IT. Let me know if you're ever in Minnesota. I get 3 tickets a game. First of all, Yusuf, it's freaking awesome. Congratulations. Second, you shouldn't say this because I don't want you to get fired, but like, can we upgrade the badass? Like, that's what we need. The Timberwolves need to be badass. The Timberwolves need to be bullies. The Timberwolves need to be bullies. Anthony Edwards, he's a killer. That dude's an assassin. That dude talks shit. That dude has attitude. He's got edge. There is nothing about Anthony Edwards I don't like. I like everything about him. I like everything about his game. Rudy Gobert is so soft. He is so soft. I never understand it. That dude is tough at a press conference when he's giving people COVID. But when he's on the floor, he is so soft. Karl Anthony Towns is too, but at least it's a different kind of soft. It's like an Anthony Davis kind of soft. It's the kind of soft I expect from a big man from Kentucky who is known as primarily as a scorer and not as a physical rebounder. But Rudy Gobert, can you just bring a little bit of physicality? Like, can you bring a little bit of toughness? Anyway, Yusuf, it sounds like you got a cool job, man. If I'm ever in Minnesota, I'll let you know. IP Shade 45. Best QB, running back, wide receiver in the upcoming draft, and why? It's a great question. I don't know about running back as well. Running back's a tough position. I got to evaluate the running backs coming out of the draft. The best quarterback's Caleb Williams. He's got freak talent. I know I've talked about, I think he's a head case. I think he's not the best leader in the world. You know what? That's not what we're going to evaluate over the next 4 months. He's got the most athletic talent. Caleb Williams is the number 1 quarterback. Running back, I got to dive into it. I got to know who's available in the draft. Wide receiver, we all know who the number 1 wide receiver is. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. The dude is, I've said it once, I'll say it now, I'll say it in the future. He is the best wide receiver prospect coming into the draft since Calvin Johnson. That is the last time we had a prospect of this caliber going from college to the NFL draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. is can't miss. He's can't miss. If a team doesn't succeed with him, it's on the team. He is that talented. He's got the DNA. He's got the intelligence. He's got everything. He's got the discipline. He doesn't have an ego. Everything about him is right. I like everything about Marvin Harrison Jr. He's the best wide receiver. Now, the second best wide receiver, there are a lot of people up for that. I'm going to say Coleman from Florida State. That dude is a dog. That dude is my kind of wide receiver. He is tough. He is physical. He can go get a jump ball. He can get you a ton of yak. So I think he's probably number 2. So Harrison Jr. number 1, Coleman number 2 at wide receiver. I know there are a bunch of wide receivers in this draft. Like this is a loaded offensive draft. But I'm big on Coleman, dude. He's not going to go as high as other guys will, but he's my favorite, my second favorite wide receiver. Yeah, I know that the wide receivers of Washington are going to get a lot of love. They just don't do it for me as much as Coleman does, actually. John, Panthers or Golden Knights? Who goes further in the playoffs? Wow, great question. I'm going to say Golden Knights only because I think the East is going to be tougher. I think the Eastern Conference is going to be tougher than the Western Conference. So I'll say it's tougher for the Panthers to navigate their way through. I'll say Golden Knights go farther, John, than the Panthers. Good question, though. Yusuf, it takes a team to build a champion, and I'm sure you're a part of that team, buddy. But Jones, light the beam. Let's go, Kings. Appreciate you guys joining the show. Have you looked at who's committed to LSU? Mike Torres, who's committed to LSU for next college football season? I haven't, in part because I'm kind of like waiting. It's weird in college football because now I feel like I gotta wait until like the aftershocks of the transfer portal settle down. I think LSU, I gotta give Brian Kelly, I gotta apologize. When Brian Kelly went to LSU, I was like, man, leaving Notre Dame for LSU. Bold. Okay, bold. And then I saw that southern accent that he did, and it's like, dude, you're no Coach O. You don't need to do that. Like, you're from Ohio. You're from, like, Boston or whatever. I don't need to do that. But then his teams have just played well. Like, LSU has played well. And LSU did not have the best roster over the last 2 years. Obviously, with Bama and Georgia putting together some of the best recruiting classes in the country. LSU, though, they're building something. And in the post-Nick Saban era, LSU wins. In the post-Nick Saban era, LSU has its best path to a national championship. I'm not talking about in the Coach O era. I think you have to go back even to Miles, Les Miles. I know they won a championship with Coach O, but their path there was a little trickier. They've got a clear path now that Bama is not just hanging over the SEC as the dominant one. So, do you think Nebraska has their QB? Anthony, I'm going to say the same thing about Nebraska now that I say every year. The dynasty is over. The era of you being great is over. I think Nebraska football is kind of like Indiana basketball. You live too much in the past, and you get too excited about prospects in the present who can't possibly deliver the kind of future expectations that you have. I think Nebraska is going to suffer in the Big Ten more than almost anyone. I think Iowa and Nebraska are two of the biggest losers from these Pac-12 teams joining the Big Ten. Because now, Iowa and Nebraska, who could have played like subpar ball, average ball, and found their way into a Big Ten championship game, that shit done. That's over now. Nebraska, you are going to be at best the 6th best team in the Big Ten moving forward. I just don't see how they break through. Do I like the fact that they spent money to go get somebody, a quarterback in the NIL? Yeah, love it. Love the transfer portal. Love it. Do I think it makes a substantial difference? No. USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Did I say USC and UCLA? I think I did. I said one of them. Point is, I just think it's going to be really tough for Iowa and Nebraska, Purdue, Northwestern. Those schools that had chances at Big Ten championship games, wave bye-bye to that shit. That shit ain't happening no more. LSU has a ton of top 10 recruits in the country. I'm telling you, Brian Kelly's a good recruiter. Brian Kelly's a good recruiter. NFL guy, who do you think is winning the Super Bowl? I'm going to say the Chiefs, but it will be a close game. NFL guy, I've talked about this a little bit throughout the show, and forgive me for those who have heard me say this before, but I'm going to speak out of two sides of my mouth right now. Okay, I'm going to double speak. On one hand, I think the Chiefs are going to win. The trends all point to Mahomes. They all point to the Chiefs. If I were to bet on the Super Bowl right now, and if I were to encourage you to bet on the Super Bowl right now, I would tell you to bet on the 49ers. There are so many reasons that the Chiefs are the popular pick. The problem is they're too popular a bet right now. There are too many people in the public telling you to bet the Chiefs. There are too many bets being placed on the Chiefs. If you were to put money down right now, there isn't nearly as much value on Kansas City as there is actually on San Francisco to cover. If I were to bet right now, I'd bet on San Francisco. I'm taking the Chiefs in terms of what pick I would say if I had to put money down on it, I'd rather be on the side of the sports books than be on the side of the public. Per Pete Thamel, the Packers are making Jeff Hafley their DC. Okay, I don't know much about Jeff Hafley, so JP'll have to give a look to it. So, Chris, Gobert and Cat soft as baby shit. I haven't spent too much time around baby poop, so I don't know if that's really soft or not. Buddy, thanks for telling me the haircut looks good. I know I was looking pretty shaggy there for a while. Clearly, a lot of you guys were like, is Butt Fumble Sports going into his caveman mode now that we're in NFL offseason? Because my hair was getting out of control. I also look so old. Like, I have a lot of gray hairs now, and when the hair gets long, those gray hairs, like, stand out. So, I went on a date the other day, and she was like, oh, so you're, like, in your late 30s? And I was like, oh, damn, I need a haircut, because clearly that gray hair is sending the wrong message. And she was not in her 30s, so that was clearly a statement of, like, oh, I am the old man here. Just need some just for men. But Jones, I'm not doing that just for men. No, I'm proud of the grays. I just know when it gets long, it gets a little bit too old in your face. But I'm not dyeing my hair. I don't think I think the gray hairs look good. Just think when they get a little long, it gets a little bad. The Lions will return. The Lions will return. I agree with that. The real Tolbert. I do agree with that. I do think the Lions will return. Get some help on that D-line for Aiden Hutchinson. Get some help in that secondary. For the love of God, get some help in that secondary. And I think you're there. I actually think the offense right now, if you could bring back that offensive line in its entirety and keep it healthy, it's as good as anyone in the NFL. I think everyone now validates the picks of Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. Those two are going to be stars in this offense for the next few years. Jared Goff, he wasn't the reason they lost. Jared Goff was the reason they won this year. I give Jared Goff a lot of credit. He resurrected his career. I think the Lions offense, if you could put it in bubble wrap right now, preserve it, keep it safe, and roll it right out for week 1 of the 2024 season, I'd feel good about it. The Lions need help on defense. They learned how to stop the run. They became an elite run-stopping defense. They need to learn how to stop the pass. That's what burned them in the end. So Lions, go get some help on the pass defensive side of the ball. After that, Lions, I think, are still a top 5 team in this league. I really don't see too many teams right now, top to bottom roster in their entirety, where I go, oh, they have a much better roster than the Lions. There aren't that many right now. They just need a few more pieces. Diego's got UGA plus 6.5. I like it. Northwestern plus 14.5. UCF plus 3.5. I think I like that. Kentucky I like. Providence. Vandy plus 18.5. I like it. Boise State. I think I like that one too. Boog, it's good to embrace them. The ladies love the salt and pepper look. I hope they do, because I'll be rocking that until the end of my days, man. NFL guy, maybe. But on the flip side, the NFC North will get a lot tougher. I both agree with you and I disagree with you all at the same time. I don't know what the Bears are. The Bears could get much better with Caleb Williams. The Bears could totally sputter and just spin their wheels in the mud. I think Minnesota could take a massive step forward with their next quarterback, but that may take a few years. I don't know if the Vikings are going to become a contender next year. With a Michael Penix Jr., or even if they bring back a Kirk Cousins. They need a lot of help. Minnesota's got a lot of problems, actually. So, the Packers are the one team that's like, Packers and Lions, you are going to be in this fight together for the next 3-4 years. It is going to be a battle between those two for supremacy of the division. But I actually think the Lions have a window of time, back to the idea of windows, they have a window of time where they are the best team in that division. They might not have the best quarterback. They might not have the best player at a certain individual position. But roster in its entirety, the Lions have the best roster. So I think there's a window of time where they can hold on to that division. By the way, Anthony, I might lower the spread. I might lower the spread on UConn and Indiana State by literally like 2 points. What player prop bets have you got for the NBA today? Let's put a few more up on the board. We've given out 2 so far. Strus over 9.5. Mikal Bridges, under 26.5 points. Let's give out a few more player prop bets. I also have Kevin Durant, over 19.5 points. You could also take it at over 21.5. Kevin Durant, back in Brooklyn. Think he puts up a very big game. You guys probably saw some of my Instagram posts. He has been on fire when it comes to reaching 20 points. He knows how to shoot in that arena. I think he has a very good game. And the Nets are really bad against the small forward position. Bodes well for Kevin Durant tonight. Another pick I'm giving out, Anthony Edwards, over 21.5 points. We've talked a lot about the Minnesota Timberwolves in this show. Anthony Edwards, I like him over 21.5 points. That's another player prop bet I like. Ramsaholic, too soon. Free agency, draft coming, Rams have cap, picks don't sleep. Ramsaholic, I will never question the Rams again. If you watch that clip of them drafting Puka Nacua and the process of them telling you months ahead of time, this dude's going to be a star. This draft pick's going to be amazing. We're going to hit a home run on this draft pick. And it turned out to be Puka Nacua, who had arguably the best wide receiver rookie year of all time, told me all I need to know. Les Snead, that dude knows what the hell he's doing in that front office. As long as Sean McVay doesn't retire as head coach, the Rams are in a great spot. Keep Matthew Stafford healthy. That team, look out for the Rams is right. Now, do I think Aaron Donald might retire? Sure. But I think that team could easily rebuild on the defensive side of the ball. As long as they keep those offensive weapons, I like it. Brent, great to see you. No worries, been MIA Kuwait for the military. Brent, I hope everything's okay. Thank you for spending some time helping our troops, or if you're one of them, I appreciate you. Brent, doing some stuff for our military in Kuwait. Sounds like someone's being a badass. Play some CCR and let's get at it. Anthony, we got to those. If you guys have questions, hit us up. We're going to be live for just a few more minutes. We've been live for an hour and a half, and this show has freaking flown by, man. This is why I love talking to you guys every day. You guys just make the time fly by. Brent, salute to you. By the way, shout out to everyone in our military. You're the most badass people in the world. You keep us safe. You allow us the freedom and the comfort and security to be able to talk sports and not worry about anyone coming into this great country and pushing us the fuck around. So, Brent, thank you for being a badass. Thank you for serving our country. One note on TikTok, by the way. So, I'm a big supporter of our military and a big supporter of firefighters. Firefighters and military, I'm really big on. And I wanted to find one of the charities that I support to try to make it like a TikTok thing, because you can find charities on TikTok and tag them or put them in your live so people can donate. You know TikTok is definitely connected to China when you cannot, there are no military, U.S. military charities that are available on TikTok. And it's like, oh, clearly, no, China would not be in favor of you donating to our military. But yeah. Brent, been here on your channel since day one. Brent, I so appreciate you, dude. It has been a crazy journey. It has been amazing. We are now coming into a year and a half of being on Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. I love every second of it. I really do. Husker, KD getting more than 20 points. You know it, dog. KD, over 20 points. I took it. Diego, I did take Zion over his point total, too. Zion, Williamson, over. I took it at 18.5 points. Could probably bump that up, but I did take that. So, yeah, KD over 20. Zion over 18.5. Appreciate you guys watching the show. I have covered a lot of topics today. We've covered where should you have a bachelor party. We've covered haircuts. Gray hairs. We've covered our military and how TikTok does not support the U.S. military. We've covered it all. We've covered Rudy Gobert being soft as shit. We've talked about Anthony Edwards having a high ceiling. We've covered everything today, buddy. KD getting more than 6 boards. I gotta look at that. I gotta look at that prop. Let's take a look at it. We're gonna jump on over to Outlier. By the way, if you guys want my picks, my research tool, anything, DM me on Instagram. That's how I give all my stuff out for free. You can find all my picks for free on the SHARPZ app, but you guys got to DM me on Instagram. Kevin Durant. Ooh, good matchup when it comes to rebounds. Really good matchup when it comes to rebounds. I like this. Away games, not as consistent, but the Nets. Oh, this is a good one. I like it. I would take the over 6.5 on rebounds for Kevin Durant. Good find. Good find, Husker Viking fan. Okay, what do you guys think I should do for dinner? I'm going to end the show in a weird... What do you think I should do for dinner? I can do pasta. I can do a burger. I'm also in New York City, so I can do anything the fuck I want. But what do you guys think I should do for dinner? Making that an open question as I get towards the back end of the show. And if you guys still have sports topics you want to hit us up about, questions about tonight's game, you want research done for your picks, I'm still here, but getting a little hangry. I don't want to say hangry, certainly hungry, but maybe it edges on the hangry side. Chicken fettuccine. Madon, sounds good. I like the take. Brent, I am doing tacos tonight. I had pizza yesterday. Tacos sounds pretty fire too, Brent. Love some good tacos. Love some good tacos. Don't like fish tacos. Never went for fish tacos. But beef and chicken tacos, we do that shit every day. So we've got one chicken fettuccine. We've got tacos. What do you guys think? If you guys don't want to talk about what I should eat for dinner tonight, you want to talk some sports, hit us up as well. More than happy to answer your sports questions, rant about whatever topic you want to talk about. Whatever topic in the sports world that you care about, put it in the chat, or you can come on live as a guest. We can chew the fat on it, spill the tea over it, then I'll kick you off. It's been a fun show, man. Anytime I feel like it goes by fast, those are my favorite shows. The shows I hate are when I'm doing like research for like an hour and I feel like it is literally taking every second of that hour. This has been a fast show for everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. I've had a lot of fun today. Brooklyn, what is the point spread for the Super Bowl? As I see it right now, I'm going to pull it up on Outlier so everyone can see it with me. I saw it at 1 point. Right now, I'm seeing the Chiefs at 2.5-point dogs. Wow. That's got to be where it opened and not the line movement, right? Right. Right now, I'm seeing it at -2.5 in favor of San Francisco. That feels a little bit too wide. If you can get Chiefs +4, I frickin' love that. Ricky, what do you think about Cincinnati tonight? Let's jump on over and let's take a quick look at Cincinnati. I'm just going to tell you what I think based on public money. I haven't gone into the trends and stats for Cincinnati. They're playing West Virginia. Should be a good battle. I'm not crazy about this one. Frankly, I think I'd rather take West Virginia on the money line. So one thing I'm seeing, the percentage of bets larger on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Percentage of money bet, it's on West Virginia. I'd rather be on the side of the money. I think I'd go West Virginia on the money line. West Virginia on the money line. Husker fan, Zion is out. Too bad. Too bad. Thought he was going to have a big game. Dodgers opening game in the AM. In the morning? I hate to say it. I think Chiefs will win. Brooklyn, I'm right there with you. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I'm telling people to bet the 49ers. Why? Because the sports books want the Chiefs to win. Or sorry, the sports books want the 49ers to win. There's too many people in the public saying take the Chiefs. I'd fade the public every frickin' time if I could. I do not trust the public. And yeah, I know. I'm part of the public. I know. Okay, everybody. Any more takes on the sports day? Any more pieces of advice or tips for what I should get for dinner? Final few seconds of the show, everybody. Final few seconds of the show. Again, if you want all of my bets every day for free, DM me on Instagram. Buttfumble Sports on Instagram. DM me on Instagram, everybody. I give away my picks for free. Brooklyn saying pizza. So we've got tacos, chicken fettuccine, and pizza. Those are the three that people are recommending right now. Again, if you want all my picks for free, DM me on Instagram. Buttfumble Sports on Instagram. If you want a free 7-day trial to Outlier. Outlier is the sports betting research tool that we use. DM me on Instagram. JP, what's your favorite sport to watch? Okay, I have to break it down by in person versus on TV. In person, hockey is freaking amazing. You go to a good hockey game in person, will change your life. It's amazing. However, I would probably say baseball is actually my favorite sport in person. Baseball is just, it's a different vibe. There's no clock. I know there is now, which sucks, but I just love going to a baseball game. When I go to a baseball game in the summertime, it's a little piece of heaven. Like, I would love for it to go forever. I love it. So, in person, I would say baseball with hockey being a close two. In part because I think those sports are better in person. That said, football is amazing on television. Like, football was made for television and television was made for football. There's nothing better than watching Red Zone. So what I would say is if I'm watching on TV, it's football, specifically Red Zone. If I'm watching in person, a good hockey game, amazing. And then I'd take any baseball game. I could go to the Royals versus the Tampa Bay Rays, and I'd be a pig in shit happy. I just love baseball. There is something about that game that totally has my heart. Appreciate you guys being with us. By the way, I've been to a bunch of baseball ballparks. There's some great ballparks in this country that people don't talk about. PNC Ballpark in Pittsburgh is amazing. What a great place to watch a game. Diego, De'Aaron Fox over 30.5 points plus assists. Let's take a quick look at it for Diego. De'Aaron Fox. And you wanted points plus assists. By the way, Brooklyn, Petco's a great ballpark too. I don't understand the beach area. That's the only thing I don't get. Great ballpark. Great ballpark. Love Petco. Really like the thing in left field with the factory or whatever. The old factory. Love it. JP, what's good? Catch you later, buddy. Okay, Diego was asking about points and assists. Points and assists for De'Aaron Fox. Points and assists. They have the same implied probability over and under. If we look at it from the over perspective, I like the assist total. I don't like the point total. So I'd probably go away from this. I think the point total is not as good. The assist total is. I think I like the assists more. It's right now set at 4.5. I really actually like that line. That's cashed in 5 out of the last 7 games. If we look at it specifically on the road, 4 out of the last 5. De'Aaron Fox, over 4.5 assists I like. I don't like the point total. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys have really enjoyed the show today. Had a lot of fun with you guys. Dante, who do you have in the World Series this year? I'm going to be Mr. Boring when it comes to the World Series. I will say the Yankees and the Dodgers. I think the Yankees are built finally to win. I think Juan Soto on that roster is a game changer. I would love to see the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'd love to see the Toronto Blue Jays make a run for it. But ultimately, I think the Yankees will finally get back to a World Series, and they will face the Yankees in what will be Fox Sports' wet dream for a World Series. Dodgers, Yankees. It's happened, like a dozen times in the history of the World Series over the course of over baseball's history. So, overall, I think that is what the World Series is going to be. I would love to see somebody else in there. I'd love to see the Braves. If it were Blue Jays Braves, I would be so happy, but I think Yankees finally get there. Brooklyn, Yankees should have gotten rid of Aaron Boone years ago. You know what Aaron Boone is? He is the Mike McCarthy of baseball. He can have a good regular season and it means nothing. You gotta win, dude. You gotta win. And you gotta win now. You gotta win this year. Aaron Boone getting an extra year of being a manager of the Yankees was a gift from the Steinbrenners, and I don't think he earned it or deserved it. I think the players were so behind him that the Steinbrenners didn't feel like they had any other move to make. But I think Aaron Boone is a bad manager. I think he's a really good guy. I think he's a good manager of players. I think his in-game managing skills are awful. His usage of his bullpen, his understanding of the moves and in-game adjustments he needs to make to win are bad. And yet I just said I think they go to the World Series this year. Okay, guys, appreciate you guys being with us all show long. That was one fast show. An hour and 45 minutes went by like frickin' crazy, and it's thanks to every single one of you. I hope you guys follow. I hope you subscribe. I hope you are a Butt Fumbler Sports follower from now until the end of time. If you love our content, if you love the conversation, if you never want to miss a show, hit us up. Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Twitter, X, whatever the hell we call it. We are across all these platforms, so make sure you follow. Make sure you're a part of the best community of sports fans on all of social media. I am live Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So, you want more of this? 5 p.m. tomorrow, we'll do it all again. And on the weekends, 12 p.m. Eastern. So 5 p.m. on the weekdays, 12 p.m. on the weekends. That's our schedule now that the NFL has sadly come to an end. We will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. If you want more, DM me on Instagram. We can talk on Instagram. You want my picks, you want my research, you want all of it, DM me on Instagram, and you can find me there. I am so grateful to every single one of you guys. You guys are awesome. If you don't know it, you do now. I hope you guys stay healthy. I hope you stay safe. And I will see you guys at what time tomorrow? That's right, 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the sports.